Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to be doing something that's really cool, actually, related to test data in the world of test automation. I will be working with Convex, which is the backend of this system, to be using basically to deploy preview environments. The benefit of a Convex preview environment is that basically every time you redeploy to a preview environment, it wipes the environment and starts fresh, which from a testing perspective and the ability to run test automation is like super valuable. That is just built in, that way it works. So I've never done this before. I don't necessarily know that it'll even be successful, but I'm hoping us putting it in place becomes a valuable video. So with that, I'm going to get a little bit of things set up and we'll go from there. Okay, so what you're looking at is basically a code base that has it's like a workshop code base, excuse me. It's not particularly complex, but it has a bunch of workshops. Off the screen, just because I don't really want to show the backend sort of web portal of Convex, I have my Convex web portal. So what we're going to try to do is we are going to try to deploy a preview environment into Convex. The preview environment basically is going to have a name. The way I understand Convex to work is you have a preview environment that you can name. Every time you redeploy that preview environment, it resets the environment. But here's the really cool part. You can run an init file before part of the preview environment deploying and basically have the same data always set in that environment. And so we're going to see if that works. If it does work, that's going to be really useful for our end-to-end suite because it gives us a really stable and consistent starting point for our testing. So with that, let's get going. Okay, so my understanding, if we do this, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to deploy a new preview environment called YouTube. Let's see what happens. And it didn't work. Preview, okay. I'm gonna paste this here. Let's grab the docs. What we're telling it to do is telling it to go look at best practices really quick. Sure, why not, I guess. We're gonna ask for this help. Can't actually see that corner of that screen. Okay. Okay, so giving us the right command. And it's working. It seems to be working, we'll see. It's thinking. All right, it says it has deployed. So I'm going to go to the portal. I don't see a preview environment. Weird. All right. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to look in the Convex cloud because my understanding is that it should now be showing a new environment with rare bobcat, and it doesn't seem to be. All right, I don't think it worked because it looks like it's deployed. Let me go check on one thing. Okay, so I got it working. So basically in Convex's cloud base, I created a new preview key and I now have a preview environment running. What we're going to look at is what's in this environment. Next, what we're going to do is we're actually going to switch the local env variable to point to the preview environment, which then should update the data showing here. Okay, we are back, and this right here is the deploy key to my preview environment. I will get rid of that actually either in this video or I'll delete this preview environment right after. So we needed to basically fix this. So what we did is we just created a new user. And my theory, as I understand it when it comes to preview environments, is that if we run deploy again, it should wipe the preview environment. And then we're going to restart this. And it did not wipe the preview environment. Okay, so we need to solve that problem next. Okay, so here's where I'm currently stuck. We have hooked up a preview environment, but when we deploy to that preview environment, basically, or we reset that preview environment, it should reset the preview environment entirely. And right now it is not resetting the preview environment. So we are working on fixing that. Okay, quick update on progress so far, since I'm going to imagine this just jumped to it. Learned a lot about preview environments in the last like 20 minutes. Basically, while helpful aren't exactly what we want to be using, what we really want to be using is something called an init, which we did know about, but I didn't quite understand how it worked together. What we're basically doing at this point is we're writing an init that will run every time the preview environment deploys, or really any environment deploys, and that init file is going to wipe the database and then basically put it back into a known state that we want it to be in. still really like the solution because Convex makes preview environments like super, super easy to deploy. And then basically all of the devs will be able to just take the init and update it as they're going, but continuing to kind of work through it, figure it out as we go. We'll report back in a couple minutes. Okay, so at this point we have an init that is seeding data, and it wipes the data entirely before, and then basically that pushes that data into a preview environment. The benefit of that preview environment is that you can very easily spin it up and tear it down for different branches. And so when it comes to running the test automation, we will be able to easily just rerun the init. It'll set the preview environment back to the same place, and then the test automation can create a bunch of data in it. We just run the init again, and it goes. So to summarize, what we need to basically do next, and depending on how long this video is, it might next be another video, is we need to then just figure out how to pipeline this entire thing into a CI/CD flow, probably using a YAML file where it will spin up a preview environment, have the init, and then go. I'm curious though to see how long this test is. I guess for context, right? This basically is seeding the data, right? And we can then choose to register for that data, and then we'll just rerun the init. And in theory, we're no longer registered. Exactly. So that's the value of that, which is from a test automation perspective, super, super valuable. And once again, the value of the Convex instance that we're using is that it makes the sort of process of doing this super, super lightweight. There isn't a ton. I feel like I've learned how to do it. So I'm going to stop the video, but then I'll do another video on pulling it all together into a pipeline. All right. If you liked this video, drop a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, drop in the comments below. If you think I've done anything royally stupid, drop it in the comments below. Otherwise, if you want to learn more about QA or just want other people to do it for you, specifically test automation, stuff like that, using some of the AI things. By the way, I'll call out the AI value here. Writing the init file and having it work in 30 seconds, super, super, super valuable. So like, that's just like wildly nice. To not have to write seed files, because those things are just like so tedious to write, was so helpful here. But check out the website, workwithloop.com. Otherwise, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.